Hello, everyone. Welcome to another marketing session with myself. And I am so excited to talk about website building, website development. If you have a business, if you have a product, if you have an organization, and you just want an online presence, I'm going to talk about different things that you could do to build your own website. So, you don't always have to spend the money. I'm here to show you different ways on how to really build an effective website, just the key things that you would need when thinking about, okay, how do I map out my website? We're going to talk about that today. Different key things and key points that we need to have when mapping out our website. Close the door. Thank you. So we can make sure we got our keywords, we got search engine optimization, right? All of these things really matter and who your audience is. So if you're looking to actually get a website started, if you're looking to maybe even enhance what it is that you have, this is what we're going to be talking about today. Different key things that a website needs. Whether you already have one or you're looking to, really get one started to have an online presence. I'm going to talk about different things that you need to consider when mapping out, writing out your bio, having key points, and knowing what it is that you're going to be doing for your website. So, of course, you don't have to have a business to have a website, but when you want to build an online presence, a website can bring that credibility. It brings a visibility as well. And it's like a landing page for all of the people who are supporting you, people who want to join, arms with you. They want to go to the event. They want to purchase a product. They want to see how I can get in connection with you. Websites are that place. You show them who you are, and it's mapped out beautifully. And even if you have a website and it's just outdated, you can enhance it, revamp it, make sure you have these things on your website to really grab the attention, whether it's new designs, whether it's logos, whether it's, just pictures, testimonials, things like that you have done in the community, families that you have helped, clients and customers that are, super happy with your services. The website is a place to be. So when you have your website, you want to, what I will ask somebody who comes to me for any website services is, what is your website for, right? You need to have clarity on what your website would be for. What's the main function for your website? Like, you don't have a website just to have it hidden somewhere and nobody's visiting. Nobody knows you even have a website, What is the main purpose for your website? Okay, so we'll just start there. You want to take time to actually know, okay, what's the purpose that my website is going to serve? All right, and there are 5 main things that you can pick from to see what your website will accomplish. All right, so certain things that your website can accomplish. It could be one. I'm going to list 5 things that your website is going to have one of the 5 purposes. You may can have more than one, but you want to choose one that your website will actually be mainly functioning for. All right. So the first one is is it going to be for lead generation and sales funnels? Okay. So are you looking to have your website set up for sales? Are you looking to have your website set up for lead generation, like actually getting people to be interested in your services and product? All right. These are the different things that you need to map out. Okay. So that's one. Is it going to be focused on sales, right? Is it to capture leads and convert visitors into customers? And, you can do that through forms, offers, and call to actions, letting people know what to do next. When you think about forms, it could be as simple as a Jot form, a Google document, where you're literally just asking, what brings you here? How can I help you? And how can I get in contact with you? All right. So if you have a website, you want to make sure, if all right, I want to convert my visitors into customers or clients, we need to have a form in place on your website. And you can embed that on your website, or you can have a link so people can just click the link and then sign up, give you all of their information so you can contact them and you guys can go from there. All right. So that's one way that your actual website can function. The second way, you can actually have a storefront online, right? Because a lot of people are getting into the merchandise, right? Whether they got shirts, shoes, hair products, whether it's, hats, whatever your service that you're selling. If you're selling a product, your website can serve as, of course, e-commerce, online storefront. Okay, so is that your website? Like, do you need to have a place where people can click, purchase, and you get sales? You get people coming in virtually online, buying your product, buying a t-shirt, buying hair oil, lotions, facial care, skincare, all of this stuff. You need to make sure that you're clear that, okay, my website is to turn my visitors into those purchases, right? Sales and things like that. All right. A third way that your website can actually function is by building brand credibility and just an online presence, just to have an online presence, your own landing page outside of social media. Okay, so if you're building a website, is your website going to be just to make sure that people know that you're credible, like you're working with others, you're actually partnering up with other businesses, other corporations, you're doing, just community outreaches, you're doing, events? What is that going to do? How would someone visiting your website, how would they know that's what you're doing? When you do that for your website, you're building the credibility. You're building an online presence, okay? So that will be able to build trust. It'll actually showcase your professionalism and make it easy for people to learn about your business and what it is that you actually do. All right, and the common features for that is basically an about page, about me, about your business, about your your event, whatever it is. And you can have bios for yourself. If you have a team, if you have a staff, that's a way to introduce your team to your audience, right? And you have social proof, certifications, and contact information, building up credibility. Okay, so if that's what your website is for, those are some things that you want to make sure that you're including if your website is strictly on building the credibility and having an online presence. All right. A fourth way that you can actually operate your website online is by having an educational resource, like a content hub. And this is basically, if you know your aim for your website is to inform, educate, build valuable content over the time, you're providing services, and you actually sharing content with experts, you're sharing information, you're bringing value to your audience, you're educating them on what it is that you do, your area and your line of work. People want to know the how-tos. People need to know how they can actually DIY, do it themselves. So if your website is that content resource, and maybe you may have events and you just need to stay in contact so they will know, that's how you can actually collect information as well also. Okay, so a website that's basically formed with educational purposes, it'll most likely be like a blog, right? You have stories and testimonials. You're sharing just, your storytelling. You're sharing, different information that comes to you, frequently asked questions that you'll share online. So people who may have the same question, they'll see it on your page and they can, go from that. And now, even though you can break it up with the different purposes of a website, you can include different parts and, really build up your website over time to have all of these things, videos, and even including downloadable resources. Okay, so if your website is strictly for education, you want to make sure that they will be able to download. You'll have these things presented and ready when people come and visit your website. Okay, so the fifth one that you can actually use your website to operate as is a client communication and support. Now, this is for someone who really is super intentional of really just their business is client focused, more so on really communicating with them and having a community, right? Because if they have a landing place where they can get updates and, you know, provide tools for their clients, if your clients may need ongoing, like, you know, communication support, that's a good way to have your website develop. So when you think about having a website, you don't want to just say, oh, this is my website. You want to have these things in mind. And this is just examples. You don't necessarily have to do, you know, everything to the T, but just to get your brain going, like your creative juices flowing, right? When you start to really map out your website, you want to think about what is the purpose for my website? Because if you have it and there's no intentionality behind it, you're just going to have a website that nobody ever visits and you don't even know what's the purpose of the website, okay? Even if it's booking appointments, you want to have a way of, you know, that is clear that here, book, you know, an appointment with me and you go from there, okay? So if you have client communication and support centered websites, you can create client portals, right? Even educational videos. You can create like your own vault of videos, teachings, like educations on whatever it is, that service that you provide, whatever it is that you have going on. You can create a client portal where they can get all the information that they need, whether it's a vault of different videos educating them. That's a place that they can come. Also just having the appointment scheduling and the knowledge base. So those are different ways that you can actually center, okay, what's my website going to be mainly for? Is it going to be to the client? Is it going to be educational? Is it just going to be for like online, like e-commerce? What are you doing on your website? Like, what's the purpose of your website? You want to have these things up front. Are you collecting, you know, just lead generations and sales funnels? Having all of that is super important when building your website. All right, you got to be clear about that. Now, a lot of people may have a website. They, you know, family members, somebody probably have done it for them a while back. You may not have even visited your own website in a while, but this is just a reminder. If you're running business, it's important and it's value in having a website, and it's value in having a modernized website as well. You want to make sure that everything is up to date. You don't want to have a website where the last event was 5 years ago. Okay, so you want to take time to, if you need to revisit your website, this is a good way to, you know, just go back and see the purpose and the intent behind your website so you can see and scale your results, like getting people from social media. If you meet people on, you know, in person at events and forums or, you know, business networking events, send them to your website. And as you go along, you can track to see visitors versus people who are registered for an event, visitors versus clients and products that have been sold. Visitors versus people who are really watching your educational videos and content. Like, you can really track all of that when you have your website built up. Okay, so it's a great display, but you want to have intentionality when you're building your website. Okay, so if you have a website but no one goes on it, it's just something that's just out there. And, you know, you put your time, your money, your effort into it, but you have no intentionality behind it. So you can't even scale like what could be working. So we want our website to actually be working for us as well. Okay, because social media is good, but when you have your own personal, professional website and landing page, that's just that next step up. And you want to make sure that it's up to date and knowing what you're expecting when someone visits your website. What do you expect people to do? What do you want the result to be? Okay, so some effects of not having a really up-to-date website is that you can miss sales and your bookings because customers just don't know what to do. I mentioned before, you need to make sure that you have a clear call to action on basically like every page, right? You want to give people the opportunity to either buy that product or book that consultation or, you know, register for that event, right? At every chance that you get, because people need to know, how do I go forward? What's the next thing that I need to do? Okay, so if you're mapping out your website, you have different pages, right? We know it's either like about me, you tell people about yourself, how to connect with me. Even if it's just that, it doesn't have to be like salesy, right? Like just tell people about yourself and just how to connect with you. You can link your social media on your website as well, of course, right? So knowing how to do that is not as complex as it may seem, but for each page, it may be an about me page, right? The next one may be, you know, services that you provide, letting people know how you can help them. What problem are you solving, right? And then the third one, just keep it simple, right? The third one, contact information. That's more in depth of either your calendar, your email, your phone number, you know, and things like that, and your social media handles as well. Okay. So when you don't have these things in order, the effects is just you miss so many opportunities where you can, in a place where you can really be maximizing. Okay. So if you don't have a good website, it also is just a lack of credibility. When you move forward, when you go in business, you're either starting up your business, you want to come correct. You want to make sure that you have that professionalism online as well, because we all know when we meet somebody new, what we go do, we go online and we go check them out, whether it's their social media, their web page. It says a lot about a person and their business when you meet and you meet someone and then you go visit. Okay. So also, if you don't have that website set up correctly, you can waste a lot of time just repeating the same, repeating and answering the same questions. So you may get a lot of repetitive questions. That's why the frequently asked questions portion, if you're in a business where a lot of people may be asking like the same question, include that in your website. You know, people like, you know, it may be a question that somebody may ask you, like, you know what, a lot of people ask me this. So share that on your website, right? Put those frequently asked questions on your website so they don't even have to come to you. They can get it just by, you know, it's right there, you know, on my website. So include frequently asked questions. You can also just, you know, you don't want to lose the opportunity to help someone to a competitor, right? You are in business and it is a competitive market, an industry. I'm sure a lot of people are in the industry that you're in, right? And when people come and visit you because they saw something that they liked, that they were intrigued, they wanted to know more. So just keep adding on to that, and you don't want to lose them to, you know, the next person, because if you don't have it all together, or it's just not like a clear landing page, they don't know how to work, or, you know, technology does glitch sometimes, you know, nothing is always perfect, but having a business page does build that professionalism, and it gives your people, your audience, the opportunity to connect with you without having to second guess or go through too many loops, you know, jumps and hoops. Okay, so, and just having outdated websites, it just hurts your online presence. All right, so by having the clarity of what your website is for, that will help you. And there are ways to build it yourself. Now, you don't always have to buy, you know, the services of a website builder or developer. If you have family members that do it well, you know, that's great too. But just know that you are able to do it yourself when you just are clear. You have, you know, different pages mapped out, and really set aside what it is that you are going to have intentionality with your website. Okay, so I list those 5 key things that you could use to kind of center in what the focus of your website is. Okay, and it matters because it automates sales. It automates sales. When you have a website that's set up correctly, it can automate sales. It can automate lead generation. You maybe be able to connect with so many different people. You're getting your calendar booked. People are watching your videos. They're learning more about you and your service. They see what you're doing in the community. All of that is laid out on our website. So you want to make sure that you have that. And then it also like eliminates the people who aren't for you. So when you have your website, knowing what your intent is behind that, it'll really cut out the fluff, right? Because people may come and visit your website, but they may not be looking for the service that you provide. So they won't even book. You won't waste time with appointments, or you won't waste time with a customer or a consultation or anything like that, because your online is laying everything out on what it is that you do and what it is that you don't do, what it is that you're here for, and how to connect with you. Okay. So It definitely acts as a hub to connect all your platforms, right? A lot of times we have our social media, we have different platforms. We're maximizing on Facebook, we're maximizing on Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, right? But just think about it. Your followers, your friends, they only see you on that platform unless they're following you on different, social media platforms. But with your website, you can have all of those things just like on one place. Okay, so people can go and visit your website, but then they could they may be more on Instagram than they are on Twitter. They may be more on Facebook than they are on TikTok. So whatever social media platform that they may use the most, they can then follow you from using your website, right? So that's a good thing also. All right. So your homepage, when you're mapping out your website, some things you really want to make sure that you're clear about is who is your audience? Okay. Like what are you servicing your audience with, and what problem are you solving for them? Okay. So that's super important when you have your website and when you're mapping out, whether you're doing it yourself or even sending it to a website developer. A treat and a gift that you can give a website developer is clarity on who it is that you're talking to, clarity on the intent behind that website. Like, what are you expecting to get? What is the purpose of your website? So that way you can track and really grow and build upon. If you want sales or information, education, it's super important that you know what it is that you want your website to be. Okay. And having the call to action, right? Super important as well, right? You just want to make sure that whoever visits your website, they know exactly what to do in order to take the next steps. Okay. And just another tidbit too. I mean, you can have colors and logos, making sure that that's all, the same across all platforms, whether it's your social media and your website. You want to have those things, of course, just going together, keeping the same colors, keeping the same font, keeping the same logo, right? You don't want to change it up too much. Just being very consistent, over time will bring the credibility as well, because when you see people over time, like, oh, I seen that logo, or I seen that that design, or whatever you have for your business. Okay, so just a little tidbit too. There are ways to have websites that are easy to build yourself. Okay, so you can actually use Canva to use your website and build it yourself. Okay, Canva is a great platform where they have many different templates to even just get started. Like, if you don't want to have to, really invest in a monthly subscription, I believe Canva definitely has some free options where you can build your website. And, you don't have to have that hosting fee. But even if you do go to like GoDaddy or Wix, they are under about $20, maybe $20 for, hosting a month for your website. But that's why you want to be intentional for your website, because you're paying a monthly fee, right, to host your website online. And you just want to make sure that you're getting results that you want for your business, whether it's exposure, whether it's people just visiting, whether it's people viewing your educational videos and content, testimonials. You want to make sure that you have intent behind that monthly fee, right, to host, and even the fees or charges that you're paying someone to manage and build and develop your website. You want to make sure that you're clear so you know what you're expecting to get out of your website. Okay, so if you looking to have your website, just be clear on what it is that you're doing it for. And make sure that you know who your audience is. Have a clear call to action so people know what to do next. Okay, so those are some tidbits. You can definitely look over your current website if you already have one and just update it, right? Make it more modernized. Use search engine. Make sure you have your keywords in there. So there's a way to actually include keywords. So search engine optimization. I'm going to throw this in here and then we're going to wrap it up. just searching keywords for your industry, seeing what people are searching for when it comes to your business and your line of work, right? Finding out what people are searching, finding out keywords that stand out, like in Google, and that will help drive people to your website. So there's different ways to drive more activity to your website by using and implementing these keywords in your website. So that's a good tidbit too. So when people go on Google, they go wherever, you know, Google is the main place probably where a lot of people go. So using the keywords in your website and just, you know, making it smooth and making it flow well, that they don't even know that it's a keyword. That's the point, right? You want to make sure that you have those things included in your website. So that is all for the website building marketing tools session that we have today. But all in all, just have fun. Be very creative. Take your time when you're building up your website, whether you're mapping it out, have the intentionality behind it. Know what it is that your website is supposed to accomplish. Like, make sure you know what it is that you want your website to do for you and your business. All right. And really narrowing it down to one or two things and really just build upon that. And if you already have one, just go ahead and, you know, update it. Okay. So I hope that all helped you guys. And until next time, I will see you on the next live. Bye.